Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. Now, I've been wanting to do this video for a real long time, but because of the spoilery nature of this video, I wanted to give all you Star Wars fans an opportunity to go out there and see The Force Awakens before I ruin it for you. If you haven't seen it by now, you must have been stranded on a desert island for the last 2 years, in which case, welcome back. Or you refuse to see any new Star Wars films because you consider it blasphemy. Well, if you fit that description, then spoiler alert, Disney has killed Han Solo. And yes, the word that's being censored in the title is killed, not something else. It's still hard for me to think about Han's death. Every time I watch that stupid scene on the bridge, I kinda hope something different happens. You know, maybe Chewie shoots Kylo in the face and his head explodes before he can draw his blade. Or maybe the First Order adheres to some basic building safety guidelines and puts up some rails on that extremely dangerous catwalk so that Han Solo just has a flesh wound and doesn't die from blunt force trauma from falling several hundred meters. Han Solo was easily the best part of The Force Awakens for me. Seeing him and Chewie kick it like they did back in the day made Star Wars feel like Star Wars again. Which is kind of what they were going for, I guess. But why did they have to kill our beloved Corellian smuggler? First reason, as we all know, Han Solo hated Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford hated Han Solo. I get too confused all the time. But like many actors who have reached the top, Harrison simply became jaded. He wanted more serious roles, he wanted to be recognized as a serious actor, blah blah blah. He was probably just tired of people like me thinking that he was actually Han Solo. But it seems strange, right? I'm sure 95% of you would love to portray Han Solo in the films. The other 5% probably think they look better in a metal bikini. Which I applaud you for. You can't really be loved until you love yourself. So why does Harrison feel that way? Well, like anything in life, success is something you can get used to. Humans have ambition, and we are constantly pursuing greater things. And some people get to the level where portraying Han Solo is not even exciting anymore. And it's kind of sad because Harrison Ford's rags to riches success story is kind of something we've all dreamed about before. He went from being a part-time actor / carpenter to being paid $10 to $25 million for The Force Awakens, as a character he no longer appreciated. Which brings me to my next point. It was probably extremely painful for Disney and Lucasfilm to pay Harrison Ford that much money for what essentially was a supporting role in the movie. It's even rumored that Ford will get 0.5% of the film's earnings, which right now is over $2 billion. That is an additional $10 million. I think Disney rather pay its actors like the way they paid newcomers John Boyega and Daisy Ridley, which was reported to be in the low six-figure range. It's kind of like a Star Wars tradition. Harrison Ford was only paid $10,000 for his role in the original Star Wars. He beat much more expensive and well-known actors like Tom Selleck, Kurt Russell, and Christopher Walken. That would have completely changed Star Wars, which gets to my next point. Disney is that extremely annoying control freak manager at work we've all had the misfortune to work with before. Despite the fact that they are cold-hearted and soul-crushing, you can't help but admit that they get results. Like any company in a healthy capitalist society, Disney's sole priority is to grow like an unrestricted tumor, and it will continue expanding until it has a monopoly over all children's entertainment. Actually, I'd argue they already achieved that. Disneyland, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, that's pretty much my childhood. See, the secret to success isn't being intelligent or gifted or having the right degree. Business is about being relentless, disciplined, and being a psychopath. Now, art has traditionally rejected and resisted this kind of business mentality, but the arts are becoming much more costly, and they're naturally very risky business ventures. In recent years, whether it's films, TV, music, or even video games, large publishers and producers have figured out how to guarantee success. And by success, I don't necessarily mean a good product, I mean something that makes a lot of money. Look at big publishers like EA or franchises like Call of Duty. Look at every pop singer that we know of. Look at Disney's own Marvel film universe. They figured out a formula, and it makes a lot of money. And if you work at Disney and you don't follow that formula, well, just look at what's happened in the Star Wars franchise in the last year. Gareth Edwards' Rogue One had a last-minute writer come in and restructure the script. Ron Howard replaces Han Solo directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller. J.J. Abrams replaces Colin Trevorrow for Episode 9. Someone, and by someone I mean Kathleen Kennedy, has her hands on the metaphorical nutsack of Star Wars creative vision, and she's not willing to let go. When Disney took over Star Wars, it was basically the opposite of a formula. It was a crazy assortment of books, comics, films, TV shows, and a very underrated video game developer. And let's be honest, if we take off our rose-tinted glasses, the quality really varied a lot. We had one of the best games in history, the BioWare KOTOR series, and then in LucasArts' waning years, we had this crap. When Disney took over, they pulled the Jedi purge and killed everything that didn't fit into their grand scheme. And they made that official by creating the whole Legends versus canon distinction. In all fairness, the Star Wars universe at that point had become so complicated and convoluted that even the most diehard Star Wars fan had no idea what was going on. But at the same time, getting rid of the EU was a big FU to all the older fans and authors. And part of this grand overhaul was the introduction of Disney's own new generation of characters, and the retirement of older generations. Just like Obi-Wan in the original trilogy, Han, Leia, and Luke became mentors instead of stars. And when you become a mentor, you become expendable, especially when you have nothing more to teach. This is why they finally agreed to let Han Solo die. So what is Disney's new version of Star Wars? Well, things have changed a lot since the 70s. Now everything is about market research and audience testing. Every decision on screen has millions of dollars of marketing research backing it. Gone are the charmingly unpolished movies of the 70s, 80s, and even 90s. Disney's new characters and plots are designed to resonate with new audiences. That means millennials and whatever the hell you call the new generation. And it makes sense. Star Wars is first and foremost a brand. To Disney, it's a money-making machine. If a brand fails to stay relevant and attract new audiences, well, they'll die with its aging customer base. Look at the new Blade Runner film. A critical hit and by all means a terrific movie, but a terrible performer in the box office. And that's all because the youngins have no idea what Blade Runner is. So Disney has created characters like Kylo Ren, who in many ways is modeled after your stereotypical millennial. Which deserves its own video, to be honest. Maybe we'll do that next episode. And in order to make this new generation's Darth Vader more powerful and evil, they decided to sacrifice Han Solo to him. Because, writing an interesting character and having a great character arc is so difficult to do. It's kind of sad that Star Wars' most beloved smuggler was thrown away for an assortment of financial reasons, actors fatigue, and finally, to boost the reputation of one of the weaker characters in this franchise. That's kind of just how show business works. I mean, behind all those beautiful dreams and fantasies, that magic and glitter is a naked Harvey Weinstein running at you full tilt with his wiener out. But there is a silver lining to this gloomy cloud. Star Wars will continue, and that's arguably the most important thing. And who knows, if we don our rose-tinted nostalgia glasses, maybe we'll be able to stomach the current travesties in the near future. I mean, the prequels don't seem as bad anymore, right? Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Special thanks to all you Patreon supporters out there. Please do remember, if you miss Han Solo, there's always all the Legends and expanded universe content out there. Don't let that stuff die, because a lot of it is brilliant. Although in Legends, a moon drops on Chewie's head, which is kind of silly. But anyway guys, thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.